This entire thing is the new Sonos Arc Ultra Dolby Atmos soundbar. You may be familiar with just how comprehensively Sonos set fire to its own hair during the course of 2024. And if you are, then you don't need me to explain it to you. If you're not, then a moment on a popular search engine will put you fully in the picture. So I don't intend to dwell on that too much today. Instead, I'm going to talk about this new Arc Ultra soundbar. It's a replacement for the Arc, which was one of the very best products in the entire Sonos loudspeaker lineup. And it's the product that the company sincerely hopes is going to make it all better again. Now, in some ways, not a lot has changed over the old Arc that the Arc Ultra replaces. This is a little bit longer. It's not quite as tall, but it's basically identifiably a Sonos product. It's mostly grille. It's available in a matte white as well as this matte black finish, and it's beautifully built. So far, so Sonos. And like the Arc, there is still only one HDMI socket, an eARC socket on here. There's no HDMI pass-through, which means that if you've an uncooperative television or a very large system, this isn't going to be much help to you. And there's still no DTS:X compatibility either. Obviously, Dolby Atmos is the big draw where spatial audio is concerned, but £999, because that's how much it costs. If you spend that with pretty much any of Sonos's rivals, that will buy you an HDMI pass-through, and it will probably buy you DTS:X compatibility as well. So the question then becomes, how is this new and improved? The biggest differences really are on the inside. The old Arc wanted to deliver a 5.1.2 facsimile of spatial audio using 11 drivers. This intends to go for 9.1.4 using 14 drivers and 15 blocks of Class D amplification. 7 of those drivers are tweeters. 2 of them are angled up from the top of the bar to create that sensation of sonic height. 2 are angled out, so there is a width to the sound. 6 of them are mid-range drivers behind waveguides, so there's a beefed up center channel. And then the 14th and final driver is something that Sonos is calling sound motion. And it seems to think it's the sort of engineering breakthrough that comes in audio products once every century. Now, whether or not sound motion is actually a generational breakthrough in driver technology, someone with much more audio engineering intelligence than I have will be able to tell you for sure. What I do know is that it's quite a radical rethinking of the idea of a bass driver. It uses force cancelling diaphragms placed back to back in a sort of a push-push arrangement, and by some clever rethinking of the centering spiders and the voice coils and the motor arrangement, which sits entirely outside the drivers themselves now, Sonos reckons it can liberate an enormous amount of low-frequency sound pressure from what is a very unpromising enclosure. From a very lightweight driver, one that can produce as much low frequency presence as a conventional driver that's 2 or 3 times the size, which all sounds very exciting, doesn't it? And if it works in practice, then it could spell curtains for the sales of Sonos's new subwoofer. But does it work though? I mean, I've got to say the short answer is yes. I've been living with this product for well over a week now, and it is capable of frankly unlikely low frequency presence. It hits extremely hard. It's very dynamic in the low frequencies. And yet it still has plenty of tonal variation and information regarding texture and what have you about low frequencies, whether you're listening to music or watching a movie. It hits very hard, and it's uncomplicatedly impressive in that respect. I've written about the sound of this quite extensively at sound-advice.online, but for now I can say that it's a very worthwhile replacement for the Arc. It sounds big, it sounds controlled, it creates a large soundstage, it moves effects around the stage quite convincingly, and well, the Arc was one of Sonos' best products, and they've replaced one of their best products with one of their best products. That all holds true for movies mostly. For music that's mixed in Dolby Atmos, it's not quite as positive. It gets a little bit vague around the edges. Still hits good and hard, mind you, and I suppose in that respect its party piece is still intact. What else? Well, for the first time, the Sonos TruePlay room correction algorithm is available for Android as well as iOS devices. And it's very, very effective, even if your room is an unpromising shape. And God knows my house is unpromising in many ways. The TruePlay algorithm will set up the soundbar so that it suits the nature of your room and you get the kind of presentation that is optimal, I suppose. Control is available using Amazon Alexa or Sonos Voice Assistant. There is a button to defeat those mics, though, if you'd prefer not to be listened to. And there are some physical controls on this little ledge at the back of the soundbar. These are play pause. There's a volume slider like the new Era speakers, skip forwards, skip backwards, group your products, and so on. And of course, there's the Sonos app, the source of all that tribulation. Time was that the Sonos app was the gold standard. Then it became absolutely chronic, and Sonos didn't cover itself in glory in that whole episode. It seems to be making something of a comeback, and it is, I would suggest, now fit for purpose. Although when you consider how good it used to be, fit for purpose is a collapse, really. It's a bit of a come down. So, should you spend £999 on a Sonos Arc Ultra? Oh, I mean, well, that all depends. Are you a forgive and forget kind of customer? Fair play if you are, because some people who are messed around by a company in the same way that Sonos has messed its customers around lately take some resentment to their grave, you know. But if you can get over that, then the Sonos Arc Ultra is an uncomplicatedly impressive product. It's one of the best Dolby Atmos soundbars you can buy for £999 or thereabouts, I would suggest. You have to be able to live without DTS:X. You have to be able to live without an HDMI pass-through. But if you can live without those things and you can live with the knowledge that the app might catch fire again at any moment, then I say go right ahead. This is a really, really impressive soundbar.